right, here we are, another episode of the Hooswhere podcast. I'm your host, Chase Minnifield, coming to you live. We are at Black Alumni Weekend in Charlottesville, Virginia. Max Milien, what's good?
What's going on, team? Coming here from Charlottesville. We back. Another great episode for you guys. Got two really big guests here, so excited to have everyone out here.
Yeah, we got a good one today. First and foremost, we got Bryce Perkins. He's the founder of Siptail, a premium canned cocktail that focuses on smooth, reimagined twist on your favorite cocktail. Bryce is a former UVA and Los Angeles Rams quarterback. Everybody, welcome Bryce to the stage. Appreciate you, Bryce. And we have Naza Shelley. She's the founder of CarpeDM, which is an award-winning dating app that seamlessly marries technology with the personal touch of a dedicated human matchmaker. She's a lawyer turned entrepreneur. Please welcome Naza to the stage. All right, so we're excited, man. Appreciate you guys for coming out. You know, it's a lot of things going on this weekend, and, you know, we're excited to come here and produce this content for everybody. You know, we started the Hooswhere podcast. First of all, if you haven't subscribed, YouTube, Instagram, follow our Instagram page, Twitter, all those good things like that. One shout out to our sponsors before we get started, Sabre.com, and we also have the core building downtown with the co-workers.
So that's what the sponsorship is now. That's what the money now.
So this is a pro bono sponsorship. But yeah, no, we're excited. We've done this. We've been doing this for about 170 episodes. And, you know, our goal as a company is to be able to bridge that gap between graduating and being able to find mentors and understand what UVA alumni are doing. One of the big things that I struggled with after I got done graduating was, you know, who do I talk to, where do I talk to, how do I use my degree, my University of Virginia degree, and tap into that network successfully. So we've built a database of videos, podcasts that allows for you to see what people are doing currently, and excited to keep that going. So let's go ahead and get started, man. We always start off with this question right here. So I'll let Bryce kick it off, man. Bryce, we learned a little bit about what you're doing now. Mm-hmm. Tell us, how did you even get to that space? How did you even get into starting Siptail?
Yeah, so about 2 years ago in July, I was playing for the Rams in the off season, right before camp. Really wanted to figure out something. It wasn't necessarily alcohol at the time. Wanted to figure out something that, you know, I knew I could do outside of football. You know, football, I love it. It's passion since I grew up, but, you know, the tedious, you know, work of it all, you know, does get stressful. And for me, it was the same. And I have this platform. I'm in a good spot. I have the contract. I have the money to be able to do something, you know, that will last outside of everything, because you never know when football will end. So, doing some research about different things that I was interested in, and one of my good friends is involved with a whiskey brand, and kind of reached out to him. I was like, you know, how do you get involved with this? And you know, that's why relationships is always good. I tell everybody this all the time. It is always good to keep and establish good relationships, because you never know who you'll meet in the road of your journey that will help you, you know, going forward. So I was able to reach out to Jerry Capone, who works with the football team, and he got me in contact with another person that started their own alcohol company in Charlottesville. And actually one of his companies is really exploding, even on the West Coast. So was kind of, even then it was like, okay, you know, this could be something that I could potentially do. And then kind of the further I got into the whole space, learning different things, researching, watching different videos, I realized, one, it's hard and it's very dominant by the big dogs, but two, the success you had when you do break that point is massive. So, you know, reached out, you know, to my brother, who's a 5-year pro with the Giants, and reached out to another one of my teammates, and really wanted to start the core group of Siptail with these three guys. My brother, a great business development people person, my other partner, business mind, enthusiastic. If anybody's met Chuck Davis, you know, you guys will agree. But, you know, from that started off the journey, and there a lot of ups and downs, trials and tribulations, but all worth it because of where we're at right now and where we're going.
Nice, man. Congratulations on getting started. That's the first thing. A lot of people struggle with it.
Just off the ground.
So, Naza, what about yourself? How did you get started with CarpeDM?
Yeah, so CarpeDM was really born out of my personal frustrations trying to find love online. So as you mentioned in the intro, I'm an attorney turned entrepreneur. So I was living and working in DC, working as an attorney advisor at a government agency. And, I was living my best life, had my little condo, and, I'm like, let me find love. And so was kind of really putting a lot of energy into dating for that purpose and just realizing how difficult it is and how when I'm talking to my Black female colleagues, my Black female friends, we're all echoing similar pain points and frustrations trying to use dating apps online. And so one day I was on the bus. I used to ride the bus downtown to work, and I was reading Aziz Ansari's book, Modern Romance, and there's a chapter in there where he talks about asynchronous communication, which is akin to texting, email, where somebody sends a message and then at some point in time later a message is returned to you. And psychologically, like how awful that is as a way of communication for people that you actually don't know. Right, so if you think about it, if you're texting with your mom or with your spouse or partner, you can read a text message in their voice, their intonation, if they're being funny, sarcastic, but dating apps heavily rely on texting, especially at the time, for people to meet, and it's actually a horrible way to meet someone because you don't know anything about them, but you're reading into, are they being sarcastic? Are they actually witty and funny? And the time frame about it not being simultaneous is actually a horrible way to engage someone that you don't know. So my initial idea for CarpeDM was, why don't people video chat first instead of texting? I was like, Jesus, how many dates would that have saved me from having to go on by just meeting someone for 10 minutes on video chat? So now it's more common. People will hop on, IG or on FaceTime and they'll have a call if you meet on a dating app. But at the time, there was no video calling like in dating apps. And then fast forward through the pandemic, we've pivoted our model and now we focus on singles interested in dating professional Black women, the pain point that I really struggled with. And we pair you with a human matchmaker in order to provide you with higher quality matches, but we still use our patented video matching process, which requires you to video chat before you can text in our matching process. So that's kind of how I went from being an attorney to incidental tech founder, definitely not purposefully, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, speaking on that, I founded a tech company myself, and a lot of people ask, first of all, do you code?
Absolutely not.
All right, so she doesn't code, and you started a tech company. So how do you go from an idea to a tech product?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I definitely recommend if you're a non-technical founder and you're founding a tech company to meet technical founders and potentially get a technical co-founder. Both me and my co-founder are non-technical, we're both attorneys. And so the one good thing about being an attorney is you've gone through law school, and the beauty of law school is it really doesn't teach you what to think, it teaches you how to think. And I say my job as CEO is problem solver in chief or chief problem solver. And so that's all to me business is. Like every day you're gonna have a different problem, and can you overcome it? Can you be solution driven? And so while I'm not a coder, I learned a lot about coding. I learned how to manage developers. I've learned how to scout talent and understand whether or not they're actually skilled at what they say they're capable of doing. And, to be quite frank, I learned that at a big cost, right? Like I've spent money that I didn't need to spend, but I think that's just a part of business. And so now I feel like I'm in a much better place as not just CEO, but also one of the people that leads our development.
Nice. Bryce, what about yourself as far as with, I'm over here drinking a drink, it's good. What about yourself as far as what is kind of first steps? Because, saying, hey, I got my brother and I got this guy who we're interested, we got a great idea. How do you get to the point where, you got something in a can, a product, and ready to distribute to people? How I know I'm not about to die and fall over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How's that?
The first step is with anything, you have an idea, research it, and everything about the space, not just kind of how to formulate, but research the history of the alcohol space, research different distributors, or research different things you need to know and different licenses you need to get. So you can kind of, at best, you never know fully what the road ahead lies, but you can have a better idea. So when you start, you can be able to put yourself in a better position. So what it was research, found a two black entrepreneurs that are in Canada who started their own alcohol company called LS Cream. And I reached out to them and they kind of helped me out in the initial point of, hey, you know, make sure you can do this and make sure that this is, you know, and they have a totally different product as well, but it was definitely started off with research and then reaching out to different companies that do it, because a lot of companies will promise you that we can do all this and you're good, you don't gotta go nowhere else, but definitely doing the due diligences of reaching out to multiple different companies at the starting point. First is research of what you want to do and then who can do it, and then go out and try to find the best person for the match. And what we had was, you know, a few canned cocktails, a few cocktails that we love drinking by itself. And we were like, okay, well, let's start with these. And we had 2 flavors. We started off with 4.
Okay.
So it was a process of, you know, a formulation which took about a year, you know, getting,
Yeah, man, turns up.
getting flavors that we loved, you know, finalized and getting other flavors out, and all that. It is challenging because, you know, the formulating the 4 flavors does cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
But we knew what we wanted to do. We know kind of the flavor profile and things that we wanted to have. And so it just started with that. Okay, formulation, boom, setting a roadmap of what we need to do to be successful in the beginning part of it, making sure the journey of it is detailed, not just saying we're happy, so let's start a company and let's go to market, but making sure as best we can we set ourselves up for success by formulating, and then also leaning on different people that have done it before. You know, no one knows the answers for sure. I mean, everybody, no matter if they've been through it 100 times, you know, they have guidance, but they don't know the answers. But being able to lean on people who have been in that space can kind of give you a good guidance. And I think as, you know, someone not from the alcohol space, you know, without the guidance of other people that have been in there, we definitely wouldn't be here.
No, that's impressive. You know, one thing that I've heard you say twice is research and figuring out what to go and then communicate with those people to see if you can talk to them and see if you can, you know, get somebody to help you kind of like oversee those speed bumps that may be ahead of you. You know, and one thing that I think is very impressive is that when did you start working on this? You start working on this while you was playing NFL?
Yeah, summer, right before training camp, like 2 weeks before training camp, reached out.
So what made you even foresee that, you know, hey, because everybody tells us in the NFL, like, we need to start working on something outside of it. This is an NFL, it's not for long type situation, but a lot of people don't believe that. So what made you even feel like, hey, I need to start preparing for life after sports?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of always been like that. I mean, like, I've never been scared to do anything. Like, I've always been, oh, do I want to do it? Okay, let's just do it. And then if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, okay, at least I tried. And I think, you know, the foundation I have, you know, with my family, kind of the supportive aspect of how I grew up, you know, so I'm never afraid to just go and try. And I think a lot of great ideas die in the head because that step of uncertainty, you know, never takes the next step. And I never wanted to be that, you know, I never wanted to let fear of, you know, the unknown kind of dictate how I move. And after coming up with an idea, talking to, you know, other people around me and making sure the team, you know, who I was with, you know, starting this project, we all kind of had similar values and focus points and determination. So we knew that whatever obstacles came, we knew we was able to handle it.
Nice ability to not be scared to fail from my standpoint. So, Naza, you have raised capital. I think you're one of, I don't know how many, not very many, that's raised over $1 million for your company. So that deserves, you know, a hand clap for sure. So tell us about that journey from finding a co-founder and going out there to pitch, to raise capital, to foresee your vision forward.
Yeah, so when I first started CarpeDM, I didn't know anything about venture or how you get a business started or how you fund something. I just know I didn't have enough money to do it myself, even though I was an attorney, right? And I also thought to myself, if I can't convince anybody to give me money, then maybe it's not as good an idea as I think it is. And so I initially raised money through my friends and family network. So I Googled, like, how do you pay for an app? And I think, they give you like friends and family, then angel, then so I'm like, all right, let me follow these steps. And so I was lucky enough to have a friends and family network that was able to invest initially for us to get the first app out. Then once you run out of that money, it's like, you can't go back to your friends and be like,
I need some more.
I need some more money. They're like, nah, you tapped this, we tapped out. And so without, showing additional traction. So then I started to look into how else can I get funding, especially at that time when I was leaving my job. So then I self-funded, I put like $150,000 of my own money into the company. And I went full time, which was really a signal to investors about how serious I was about the venture, and kind of opened up space for me to have access to more funding opportunities. And so my co-founder initially, I asked her to join because she was an attorney at an ads and marketing agency, and we went to law school together. And so I was just like, you should come on and help me with like marketing, like director of marketing or something. So she came on initially that way, and then eventually was elevated to co-founder. And it's really a big help to have a co-founder, especially when you're trying to make sure the business doesn't run out of capital, and that you get to revenue generation and hopefully eventually profitability. And then you also need someone who's making sure operations are still going, because raising capital is a full-time job and it takes a lot of energy, networking, and effort, but really started to see some traction on that front when we pivoted to our current model, and then obviously showing that people were interested in what it is that we were building through any means necessary. So whether or not that was focus groups, whether or not that was getting a beta out into the market, whether or not that was getting initial people to like pay something for what it was that we were building, that all helped. And so, and I also, I'd be remiss to say that I wasn't a beneficiary of the increase in capital that came into the market post George Floyd, right? Like we had 2022 was the biggest investment year in Black founders. I think we went from like 1% to like 1.3% of all the billions of dollars that were invested. And so we got capital around that time, and so we were able to show a lot of traction from then. And now that access to capital is just dwindling down even further. It's getting harder and harder for Black founders and Black female founders specifically to raise that level of capital. So a little bit of timing, a little bit of luck, a lot of preparation, and then obviously having the right support and team around you to allow you to do that.
So how do you prep? Max, you ready for that question? You good?
Oh, I'm good. Well, I just honestly wanted to talk about, for everyone out there who's, maybe a Black entrepreneur looking to start, you went to UVA, went to law school, got a great job as a lawyer in DC. There had to be some people who were like, are you crazy for taking, you made it, right? Like, what are you doing trying to go on your own and start from scratch? Kind of tell, people who might be in your shoes and are willing to kind of, I don't want to say risk it all, but really like risk, like you had the safe play. You made it to what a lot of people strive to, and now you're kind of starting over. So what's that kind of like, and what advice would you give people who are kind of in their shoes?
Yeah, I think Bryce hit a little bit on the head when it's like, you have a personality that's a little bit of a risk taker, and then like a bet on yourself personality. But as an attorney, I'm a very calculated risk taker, so I'm definitely not like, let me just jump out here. And so I think it was a combination of me. I worked for 2 years while building CarpeDM, and then just got to a point where it was like I couldn't do both. Like my hair was falling out, I couldn't sleep. I was going to pitches during my lunch hour. So it was just like I was in between two lives, and I was like, I want to go in the direction of focusing on my business. And so I just kind of made a decision. I was like, okay, I can rent out my condo, I can move to New York, I'll have 6 months of money. And then it just happened that as soon as I left my job, a month later, COVID hit. Yeah. And so that kind of changed my whole trajectory as far as like what my plan was for growth. And so I would say, sometimes I think that ideas demand to be brought into the world, right? And so if you are blessed to have an idea that could be $1 million, $1 billion, whatever idea, if you don't act upon it, there's like, the notion that that idea just moves to someone else, right? So we've all been in a situation where like, I had that idea like a year ago, and then all of a sudden you see like it on the market, right? That's because you may have had the idea, but you did nothing about it. And the idea itself is great, and it demands to be brought into the world, and it will just go visit somebody else who will take the risk to like bring it to life. And so this was an idea that would not leave me alone, right? And so I just could not, stop thinking about it. And so once I started talking to friends, I'm like, what do you think about this? Like, would you use something like this? And just getting positive affirmation about the concept kind of helped me along. And then doing, like Bryce said, my own research, like sitting down, looking at the market, seeing that there was like some white space that there was, or they call blue ocean or whatever, right? Like that there was a gap that wasn't filled by anyone. And I was kind of like, you need a little bit of naivety too, right? Like to kind of jump out there, like I can do anything. And so that also kind of helped me, because if you know how hard it actually is going to be, I think most people would never start businesses. So it's good to like actually not know like how hard it's going to be and kind of think, oh, I can do it, right? And then you just, I think, have that problem solver mentality, and just every day there's going to be a problem. So I have the mentality that's like, I expect problems. I don't avoid them. I don't get upset when they happen. Like that's an expectation that in what it is that I'm doing, there are going to be problems and challenges, and it's just, a testament to my skill set to be able to overcome them.
I call it competitive stamina, right? Like the ability to just be there tomorrow and show up and show out. I'll call it show out, but do your best at whatever it is that you're trying to get done. We got some darn people in the audience, so let's talk business model. Both of you guys decided to start in a specific area of the country. Can you talk behind your reasons of starting in those areas? I think Siptail's in Arizona, and CarpeDM started in DC, correct? So can you guys talk through your ideas and thought processes of like, let's focus in these specific areas? Bryce, you can start.
Yeah, so for me, it was very simple. From Arizona, my family's from Arizona. A lot of the roots I had was from Arizona, and understanding the alcohol space and the feet on the ground aspect of it for all companies when you first start. Unless you have millions and millions and millions of dollars to just flood the market with advertising and marketing, and people just have to look at it because you spend so much money on ads and different things of that nature. But for us, it was definitely something like, hey, where are we the biggest kind of name history? My father went to ASU, me and my brother are from Arizona. Okay, let's start there. And the requirements of building a company is a 6 to lips is what we call it. So from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, sometimes Sunday, they let us, we're in these stores doing tastings, getting people to try the product, alongside with ads, alongside with different marketing, tools as well, events as well. Definitely, we wanted to do something where we could be the most present in and have the most success. We know the layout, we know the stores, we know the hot areas, and we wanted to do that first at a small scale, so we know the problems and the successful habits that it took for that small scale, and then we can try to apply it to a bigger scale as we grow. And if we failed in some areas in the small scale, it allows us to fix it and correct it before we go big, because one mistake in just Arizona and one mistake in 50 different states or 40 different states is a lot different. So and just kind of looking at the successful companies that were similar in position of us and how they kind of started, and taking different aspects from that, and then also doing something that's similar and doing something that's completely different, and that's kind of what we wanted to do, and it's been working out so far. And the next step will be the next step as we go, and we'll figure it out about the different aspects of scale and different things like that.
And how many stores are you guys in currently in Arizona?
So 25 from January to now. We've been able to get to 25 stores and 5 different restaurants.
Nice, congratulations with that.
The alcohol space is a tough one.
Yeah.
So in terms of growing, I know you talked about that. Like, how do you see you guys growing? Because I know a lot of states like either have a liquor license, or Virginia, for example, you can only sell the ABC store. So it's not like you can just get Walmart across the nation, stuff like that. So and a lot of these companies have the millions of dollars we're talking about, to where they don't need to go to every single state and pitch to every bar and bartender. So what kind of your growth plan do you guys have to kind of overcome those challenges of like, you can't just sell online and somebody from Virginia can purchase it and have it shipped. You got to kind of the bar has to have either met you or had your liquor and kind of put it in there and go through it. So what kind of those working through those kind of things you can do?
So it's a blessing because we're able to actually ship to online to different states. 43 different states straight to your doorstep. So
gotcha. Okay.
And from October to December, when we weren't in stores, that was kind of the biggest aspect of our business, getting people to buy it online. And as we go through Arizona, the thing is, okay, build as much notoriety as we can, make sure this is self-sufficient before we go to any other any other market, right? And then also have a good plan while we're in Arizona to be able to, when it's time to raise capital, when it's time to go to investors and be like, look, our model is here, we're proven we're with this, the biggest distribution, we have these numbers. So at the end of the day, it looks good, it tastes good, but no one's going to care about anything but numbers at the end of the day. So to be able to do the dirty work, the grinding work, to get the things that we want, to show people that how invested we are, right? We put a lot of money, of our own money into it, and this is from 7 to 7, we're out at the warehousing, at the stores, and to be able to show other people that while we're building up in Arizona, will allow us to, when it's time to scale and raise capital to scale, to be able to, not as much as these big companies who can tens of millions of dollars, but
right.
Hey, maybe we can't go millions and millions of dollars spread across the whole U.S., but maybe we can go to California and just focus on California. So market to market to market, our big thing is, hey, we'll take care of the West Coast, and then we're going to slowly trickle to the East Coast, Virginia, the Miamis, DCs, and different things like that. So, and we know from just looking at different things. I think Jay-Z would say the best. He said, Ace of Spades took 8 years to make before it popped off. Yeah. So it's like you see the overnight successes, but you don't see everything that took to get to that point. So. We look at it as a long game. We're not here to make money by next year. We're not here to get rich, in 2 years. We're here to build a sustainable company and a long-term company that takes time. And, the people who are on the team, know that, and we all, feed off each other.
That's real.
Yeah.
Can't microwave success. So, Naza, what about yourself? What about DC? Why did you choose DC for CarpeDM release?
Yeah, so for a lot of the same reasons that Bryce mentioned when it comes to de-risking your venture before you're able to scale, right? Like picking a location, making sure you have all your business fundamentals correct. So for us, it's like, do we know how many matchmakers we need per member? Do we understand how much money we're making per member? Do we have our pricing model correct? How do events play into our growth strategy? How many events do we need to put on every month? What type of ad dollars does it cost in order to acquire a customer? Like the biggest thing is like, how much does it cost for us to acquire a customer, and then how much money are we going to make off that customer in the end? And then taking whatever growth strategy and model that we have and then applying it. And we selected DC because of its favorable target demographics. So most number of Black singles. Our target customer when we launched was Black, makes over 75K, would identify as professional and single, right? And so when we did our market analysis and we looked at the top 10 cities across the country, DC was number 1. We happen to be in Virginia, right? Yeah. And so it have a connection to DC. And then we knew that we would be throwing events, and so we wanted to be able to have a really strong ground game. So it just came together and made a lot of sense. So we've been in the DC market for a year, and there's a lot of things that we've learned lesson-wise and things that we think that we'll be able to apply as we expand into new cities. But we're also prepared for new cities to have different dynamics than DC, right? So there may be cities where acquiring customers is actually easier, where we don't have to throw events, or there's different dynamics. So I think it really is about really understanding your business model, your numbers, and exactly how you're going to scale. And then if you are going to go out for capital, having that all really buttoned up. Because when you go and you say, hey, I need $5 million from a seed stage investor, or if you go to Series A, they want to know exactly how you're going to use that, and that you know exactly how you're going to use that money and how you're going to make a return on that investment for them. So that's really why we selected DC, and I agree with Bryce on the logic behind picking a smaller market and limiting your exposure.
I got a 2-part question for you in terms of growth. One, you mentioned, how many matchmakers do you need? Do you see with the boom of AI that ever taking over or helping with matchmakers? And the second one being, I know you're trying to raise capital. A lot of the things they look for is recurring revenue, right? Your business model is you shouldn't have recurring revenue, like it's a goal. So kind of those 2 challenges, how do you see yourself overcoming those?
Yeah, so AI matchmaking is something that's growing across other dating apps like a Tinder or Bumble, or you name it. They really are structured that way because they fed off of a freemium model, while we're definitely watching it closely and looking at ways that we can integrate, because we're a tech-enabled platform, right? So we already have technology that that assists our matchmakers in understanding what a potential quality match will look like, and definitely continuing to monitor that and figure out how we can integrate that into our process so that our matchmakers can serve more members, right? It's not to eliminate the human matchmaker component, because for us, that's the secret sauce. It's the secret sauce of like, this person has met you, the other matchmaker has met your potential match. They have a conversation and they're like, nah, I think this is a good fit because of X, Y, Z, right? And so for us, it's determining in these early stages, who does make better matches? Is it our algorithm? Is it our matchmakers? If it's the matchmakers, how do we train the algorithm to act and understand more like a matchmaker, a human matchmaker, so that we can scale? And then your second question was about recurring revenue. So for us, there's new singles coming into the market every day, right? So you're in a relationship, then you ain't in a relationship. Yeah. You know, you're young, and then all of a sudden you're 21, and you can take advantage of something like CarpeDM. And so for us, we wanted our business model to align with the goals of our members. And so if you think about traditional dating apps, there's a complete misalignment of their goals to keep you single and keep making money off of you, and your desire to actually find a member. I truly believe that some of these platforms could literally probably send you your perfect match tomorrow if they actually really wanted to, and they don't. So for us, it's like, are we making enough money off of our member for our service to justify, like, here this person is? And we knock it out of the park on the first time a lot of times, right? And so we have people that pay us, and then here's your first match, and they're almost engaged, you know? And so for us, our values and our desire for you to find a meaningful relationship is completely aligned with our customers' desire to meet someone. And we think that's an important core model. And then because we knock it out of the park for you, you tell your friend. You know, and because we do a good job for you, you tell a friend. And even if you have a 6-month subscription and you don't find your match in that time, you're enjoying the events, you're enjoying the quality of the singles that we're introducing you to. You're having a better online dating experience overall, so you renew your membership, right? And so, and then long-term play for recurring revenue is for us to be able to support our members and people who are actually coupled. Because what we're hearing is couples actually don't know what to do. They don't know like where to go, where they can hang out, who they can engage with. And so as we grow our member base of CarpeDM couples, we're able to put on events and give them experiences for some other type of fee structure that allows them to maintain their healthy relationships.
How are you, we'll get into some, like, what are some difficulties between both of your guys' companies? But I guess for CarpeDM, like, how are you kind of making sure that it's, you know, not turning into one of these dating apps where, you know, men aren't taking it seriously and going from this to this to this to this, and that type of situation? Like, how do y'all combat against that and still make it as successful and want it to be where the women are showing up on the platform to see success?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, first is through our vetting process, right? So you have to submit an application, you're invited to meet with a matchmaker, you have a meeting with the matchmaker where we find out what your dating goals are, we see whether or not you're actually serious and looking for a meaningful relationship, and we tell you the expectations of joining our community. And that's reiterated to you when you actually join the app. We have 10 commandments that we expect our member behavior to align with, which includes being respectful, being responsive, being a decent person, right? Like, and closing the loop with your matches. We have 100% background check member base, so there's not one fake person on our platform, and you know if we send you a match, this person is a real person and that they're actually interested in a meaningful relationship. And then we actually monitor the behavior of our members. So if I send you a match and you don't engage with them, and I send you another match and you don't engage with them, you may get a phone call. Like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? I'm sending you these I'm sending you these matches and you're not, you know, what's the problem? Or like, you know, give me feedback. Is this not what you're looking for? Do you need to change your settings and your preferences? And that allows us to, or we just have a frank conversation with, hey, when we ask you for feedback, it just comes to me as your matchmaker, right? So if it's the body type that you don't like, cool, just click the button and let me know, right? If it's that, you know, whatever it is, just give us the feedback, because then that allows me as your matchmaker to send you a higher quality match the next time. And then if we see that you're really on some BS, right, we'll just kick you out of the community, right? So we'll let you know, like, this just really isn't for you. We're not a factory, right? This isn't for you to just have access to the highest quality women and for you to trick off and go on dates and that kind of stuff. It's like, no, if you're consistently meeting with our members and you're not actually moving any of those relationships towards something more serious, then we may contact you and let you know that this may not be the right service for you, or revisit us when you're potentially in a different space when it comes to potentially being able to meet someone.
Okay. And speaking of revisiting, like what kind of demographics are you seeing in the platform? As far as like, are they people that are first time looking for this serious relationship, or are they divorced and trying to get back into the space? Like, what are you seeing any of that type of like demographics that's consistent?
Yeah, so we have a lot of divorcees, people who are, and we love divorcees, like they know how to commit, you know what I'm saying? They come back and they be like, I know what it's like to have a good woman, and I'm just trying to make sure I find the right one. And so, but most of our members are between 28 and like 42, getting married for the first time or looking for that first commitment, no kids, make over $100,000, Christian. And so, I mean, as we delve deep into our user demographics, those are some of the commonalities that we see across the board.
Nice. And for you, Bryce, like, what did you guys have to go through? Like, you're taking a risk, obviously, with anything that people have to, like, drink, eat, consume. Like, what kind of, do you guys have to have insurance, or, like, what kind of difficulties are you finding with creating a consumer product that people actually, you know, eat and drink?
Yeah, I mean, so the difficulties that can arise from our side is because you rely on so many other companies, third party, and you outsource a lot of material ingredients that have to, you know, be produced, have to be tested, have to be, you know, formulated correctly. So it's a long process, and when something comes back, you know, negative, or so they send it out for testing, and maybe this part of the formula, you know, was, you know, just a little off, you know, it stops to everything. So we had to go through production a few times to be able to retest, whether it was product being shipped, you know, not on time, so it kind of expired, which kind of caused, you know, bacteria to grow and different things of that nature. On the pre-production side, so a lot of it is relying on, you know, different, you know, companies that we've had to, you know, go through, and then, okay, go find another one, go through, find another one, because, you know, if someone gets sick from your product, I mean, it's on you. I mean, and especially when you're trying to start up and grow, and you haven't been in the market for years and years and years, you know, if someone, you know, getting sick or you know, getting injured from your product, you know, can totally derail everything. So making sure that everything is to a T, you know, don't overlook anything, especially in the pre-production stage, because, you know, a lot of it is being shipped. So, and then while production is going on, make sure that we were there. We were in Vegas from like 12 o'clock at night till like 7 o'clock the next day. You know, while they were formulating batching, making sure the tastes were right, making sure the numbers were right, you know, according to our sheet, because we got a sheet of, you know, everything should be at this bricks, you know, this amount, this, and making sure everything was solely, you know, tightly locked, that, you know, we felt comfortable going into market. And then outside of that, you know, understanding how to store it, understanding how to transport it, because, you know, a lot of people, once it leaves your hands, you know, it's handled, a lot of companies, or a lot of our products are handled so poorly that they either spill, they leak, and then when they leak, because it has sugar in it, you know, they'll start to mold. The mold gets on different boxes. So making sure like everything like is in order with that. And we ran into problems where we've had to throw away a lot of product because either it was a sealed rice, so it started leaking, and a lot of product has started to mold. So making sure, you know, the relationships that you have with the suppliers are good, and make sure the suppliers themselves are good and very vetted in the business as well. There's a lot of new companies and new suppliers that come on for the first couple of years and maybe not have everything in order, they don't do everything right, and it can hurt your business. So make sure, you know, do your part, and also reach out to people who have went to different suppliers for different products and things like that, because as a consumer-based product, you know, you need the consumer. So you have to make sure your ingredients, your formulation, and everything is down packed, because you can't hurt your company.
And get on the opposite side of that fence, how do you compete against the big dogs? So you compete against brands that are, you know, well-funded, well-backed, all those different type of things like that. And here you guys are, your brother and one of your good friends, trying to compete against the Goliaths of the industry. So what's your strategy of going about that?
Yeah, see, well, these companies, so a lot of companies either are extensions of like bigger companies. So Anheuser-Busch will release a product, a seltzer or a canned cocktail, and kind of lose that consumer relationship aspect from owner to consumer. And for us, we know we can't compete with the high noons of the world right now because they're everywhere, right? But what we can do is we can establish good relations with the people that can try the product right now and understand the journey, the chapter that we're in right now is the growth stage, right? And not looking and say, okay, we have to be in this many stores because they're in this many stores, and we measure our success against that. But what we can do is make sure that everybody that tries it can, everybody that tries it, they feel connected to the store, they feel connected to the brand, they feel connected to who we are as people, that when they leave at nothing else, they say, man, we really like those guys, so next time I come back, I'm gonna buy it. So making sure that as much as we can, the owners are in the field, the owners are in your face, the owners are the ones educating you about the product, inviting you to our story, make you feel a part of the story. And that's kind of what we've seen that a lot of bigger companies lack, is that personality of really going out there. You don't see the owners of any of these companies. I mean, we'll get to a point where we can't be everywhere as well too, but right now, while we can, make sure that we definitely are on the ground educating people, and just being from Arizona where we're starting is definitely helping a lot too. So not only it's like sports. When you're a part of a home state, you root for the home team because you feel relationship to someone. So kind of take that football mindset of people relate to you because you play for the team. So people want to root for you and try your product because you're from there. So.
And I like what you guys are also doing with like merch and lifestyle brands and things of that nature. And I think I heard you say something like, you can't compare your year 3 to somebody else's year 50. You know what I'm saying? That type of understanding of the cycle. And there's the same thing for you. How do you prepare to compete against, I guess, Bumble and all these other different companies that are well funded and backed that have been around for the brand recognition?
Yeah, so to some extent, the fact that they've been around for so long is a hindrance to them, and it's a benefit to us as like a newer brand because we're able to pivot and make changes for our customers a lot faster, theoretically. It is difficult because dating is a crowded space, but luckily for us, or unluckily for Black women in general, no one's really been checking for serving our needs, right? So when you go out and if you type in, internet like dating app for Black women, CarpeDM is probably going to come up, right? And we don't have to spend that much money on it because other services aren't really catering to the needs of Black women. They can buy those keywords, right? But like intrinsically, we kind of know, right, that it's really not built for us. And so for us, the biggest challenge is just getting our brand in front of more people and letting those people know that we exist. Like this service exists for women and men like you. And so you should give it a try. And so when we are able to get in front of potential customers, we're able to show them the value that we provide as a service, and it becomes a lot easier of a hurdle, right, to get them to want to join. But that, like Bryce says, it takes resources, it takes time, and we're not like a Bumble or a Hinge, and even those companies are, like we've said before, they're not overnight successes, right? It took 10 years before anybody really understood or knew what Hinge was, but they were in the market for over 10 years, almost went bankrupt, right? And then kind of find the sweet spot. And so for us, it's just a matter of continuing to really focus on quality customer service, like making sure our members understand that we're not a money grab, we're actually really trying to help them find the meaningful relationships that they desire, and then making sure that we're continuing to be out and about, like Bryce said, like what's the ground game? How often am I as a founder talking to potential members of our platform? Because people do resonate with the fact that you're, for me, a Black female founder building something designed specifically for them. And then honestly, I think we built something that anybody would want to use. It just happens to be that we're selling it, right, to Black women, because we have non-Black women that are like, this is not fair that I can't use that. And I'm like, well, you can always go to one of these other platforms that are built for you, right? So our goal is to build something that anybody would want to use, but really specifically cater to our target demographic.
Gotcha. So one of the reasons we started this podcast is for the Alumni Network. Naza, you probably don't know, but when we were recruited, one of the big things they said was, hey, we differentiate ourselves by the Alumni Network that you'll get when you come here. So, for both of you, Naza, in your sense, have you been able to use that alumni network? What has it been like to help you out? And Bryce, if you answer, like, you coming from the transfer, have you seen a difference from, where you came from to how UVA's alumni network is? Because we found that it's been kind of non-existent. We're trying to bridge that gap. So I'm not supposed to say, if you want to start, like, you just not being in the athletic space, the alumni network for you being a black woman at UVA, which is a predominantly white school, have you been able to tap into that? Is that something that has been able to help you, not help you? I know with the Cap Angel stuff, we've gotten able to reach out, but how's that experience been?
Yeah, I would say that some of the alumni networks, when I first launched and I would send them information about CarpeDM, tried to do a good job about blasting it out to the Instagram groups and Facebook groups. And then, the biggest success that we've had through the university community is getting investment through Cap Angels. So they've invested $90,000 into CarpeDM, and a lot of those independent investors that wrote checks were Black UVA alumni. And so we're really grateful for that, and we're really grateful for them continuing to be champions of our brand. So Cap Angels, through their program, we were actually introduced to a CNBC producer who did a whole segment on CarpeDM during Black History Month. It was also around Valentine's Day and matchmaking, so it just really made a lot of sense. But that was because, we send out an investor update the first Sunday of every month, and we have direct asks in that update. And, one of those asks was like, hey, we need more media exposure. So, like, who can help us? Who can do introductions? And so our contact at Cap Angels really stepped up in order to help us make that connection. So, and then we've also leaned on our, we both went to Howard Law, so we leaned on our alumni network there as well. And I think that for me, any bit of support helps, you grow your brand. I think I would love to learn more ways that I could tap into the UVA network, especially the alumni network, because that would really be who our target user would be within the community.
Gotcha. And Bryce, going from, playing two different schools, does the alumni network compare, contrast? What, have you seen it be better than where you came from, worse where you came from? How's that been with you guys?
Honestly, I came from Arizona State, and here it seems it is better. I didn't graduate from Arizona State, but just the community around UVA, the pride that you talk to other people who went to UVA that had, and there's a lot of them out there. After I left UVA, I found UVA alumni, all over. I've been in Arizona and in California as well too, but definitely just the 1-2 to help other alumni to be able to succeed, and I've definitely without reaching out to Jerry and then him reaching out to someone who's alumni here, would have not even been able to start. So I found it a tremendous help, and not saying Arizona State is better or worse, but I found definitely a noticeable difference in the way that people who went to UVA help each other for real. So and I do try to do my part as well too. As I grow and as I go into my career and different things of that nature, people who are coming up, behind me, that's what it's about. It's about you asking for service, receiving service, and also serving other people, and be that voice and be that that turn to for when people want to do something that you're doing. And it could be someone that's in school right now or someone coming to UVA in 2 years. You never know. So making sure I never forget who's helped me and how they helped me to be able to return it to other people too.
Solid. So I think we're about to close it up. Anybody from the audience have any questions for our panelists and podcast guests? Don't be shy. Oh no, Jennings. Oh, we got one, P3.
So I was gonna say, Naza, as like a high earner, you're an attorney. Can you tell me a little bit about what was the motivating factor to say, I'm gonna put myself out there to become an entrepreneur? Because I feel like sometimes you can get comfortable if you're in a high earning position and not want to pivot. Can you talk a little about that?
Yeah, so I think it just was, I did as much as I could do maintaining my job and doing both at the same time as I possibly could. So I did not want to let that check go, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to hold on. And so, but different doors open when you fully commit to your business. and say that you're all in, because people don't want to give you $1 million and you tell them that you got a 9 to 5, right? And that so is the business your full-time passion, or is it the 9 to 5, right? So sometimes you're forced to kind of step out of your comfort zone in order to kind of grow. And then for me, I've always been a little bit of a risk taker. Like, I've studied abroad. I'm a child of military parents, and they formed a company that they sold. I moved to China after law school and, taught and worked at a internet gaming company. And so I've seen people in business surroundings, and I've really thought, like, that's the way to wealth, right? Like, if you are able to actually make it and make it happen, then you can actually change the trajectory of not just your life, but your family's life. And then I always have the mindset that if I can get it once, I can get it again. So there's nothing that I've ever gotten in my life when it comes to salary or what the money I saved that I put into my business, the condo that I sold to have money to put in my business, that I don't believe that I could get back tomorrow, right? And so being an attorney and having that background and skill set provides me additional comfort, right? Because I always know that I could turn on a website tomorrow and be like, I'm offering attorney services and consultation. So I think that's where the calculated risk comes in, where you're like, I'm making this decision not flippantly, but because I understand the opportunities that I have. And then I'd really be remiss to say, if I didn't mention that I have a very supportive family. So I understand that a lot of people are not in that same position. So like, when I sold my condo, and I have nowhere to go. So I called my parents, I was like, can I move home? And they were like, yeah, come move home. I'm still living in my parents' basement, right? And so I've been there for 3 years, growing this company, raised nearly $2 million, and have gotten the company to where it is. And to me, I'm kind of like, I'm happy where I am financially, and I know that I can make other moves because I have a support system. So I think you just kind of have to take stock of all the different options you have. And I will say that entrepreneurship is not for everyone. And so you don't have to think, because I have an idea, I have to do it and I have to sacrifice all of these things. It's really, really, really hard, right? It's like, I can't understate how difficult it really is. But if you are passionate about that and you see a path towards, success and kind of changing your life, I definitely think, bet on yourself. You only have one life to live, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with going to work and getting a check and, living your life that way either.
Any other questions? There's you're a single DC guy. You're trying to get on this app. Are you a Hinge guy or you a CarpeDM guy?
We're going to change him to a CarpeDM guy. We got him.
I'm not on any dating app right now, but I might have to check out her. Oh, so I do have a question. So are guys signing up or are women signing up? Right? Like if I sign up as a guy to see a
whole bunch of other dudes,
different women, or are women signing up to okay, these are the guys support?
Yeah, so our business proposition is that, we cater to serving professional Black women. So we heavily target African American men because 95% of Black women marry Black men. And so we know that we have to have a really strong number of Black men on the platform. But the ratio is favorable to men on the platform. So if you join, you're going to have more access to higher quality women than you're going to have on any other platform. They're going to be real women. They're gonna be real. They're not gonna be asking you to send them money in the DMs or follow them on Instagram, right? Like, they're gonna be real women that are actually looking for relationships with men just like you. So I definitely tell guys, on other platforms, you are really in the dark on a lot of things to find your person. And for us, we're very transparent on what it is that we can accomplish. And so we're very positive for any guy that joins that you're gonna find success on the platform.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. Let everybody know where they can find you at, Bryce.
So, personally?
Yeah, where can they find you to keep up with what you're doing?
So you can follow me on Instagram at 3_to_the_neck, TODANECK, and also Siptail, SIPTALE on Instagram as well too. So
thank you for coming. And Naza, where can they find you?
Yeah, so we are Carpe, the letter D, the letter M, dating across all platforms. I am CarpeDM Boss on Instagram, and we actually have an event coming up May 5th, a single spades showdown. It's gonna be like 300 people. If you know how to play spades, bring your wingman. If you don't know how to play spades, we'll have a novice boot camp for you to learn. You can also sign up as a single person and we'll pair you with someone. It's gonna be on Cinco de Mayo in downtown DC, so it's a great opportunity for you to come out, meet other singles, and just have a really amazing time. And we do this very regularly. So if you're not following us on Instagram, you absolutely should, so that you can get access to all of our events.
Well, that is it, guys. We appreciate you guys coming out and supporting us at the podcast. And yeah, we'll be live here soon. Season 5 coming. Thank you.
Thank you.